A very good evening to everyone, those who are watching us live on YouTube channel of GS Motivator. Today is Monday. A new week has started and we are also with our series of Feast here powered by Digital Inspirational Lab. And this is a forum of educators, skill providers of tourism, hospitality, events, research, and entrepreneurship, wherein our motive is to bring eminent speakers from the background of tourism, hospitality, aviation, the experts, the educators, the industrialists, and the corporate people. And in this particular series, today we have with us a very eminent personality, Dr. Himanshu Talwar ji. He is an international TEDx speaker, celebrated author, postdoctorate in business administration. Recently, his book, Land of Eternal Enchantment, has been released. This has been authored by Dr. Himanshu Talwar ji, and today we'll be discussing this to explore the land of eternal enchantment, India. So let's begin this journey. Let's begin today's webinar. Let's discuss about this land of eternal enchantment called our own India, Bharat. So just stopping share. And sir, we welcome you and we are delighted to have you with us. So to begin with, we just want to understand your journey and how you been inspired to work dedicatedly in this particular field.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, Dr. Sharma, and to everyone who is associated with this platform for the opportunity. And I hope that whatever I'm going to share today will certainly help inspire and motivate people to look at, in particular, the tourism sector as something which is very clear that is and has always been the backbone of the Indian economy, I can say. From my personal experience, if I would put it, it's like I've always been a traveler and I've traveled to many places. And while traveling, I met a lot of people and got inspired by a lot of places where I've been to, which includes more or less every form of tourism, and especially the architectural sites and libraries and other places. And that inspiration perhaps got into me somewhere at the back of my mind. And I started, while working, I parallelly started studying. So ventured and into this so-called research industry and studied thoroughly the tourism as well as other subjects. And somehow to write my postdoctorate thesis in time. And that's how I got awarded this degree, maybe like 3 years. It's been 3 years now, yes. And secondly, wherever I've been to, I traveled, I met people and all that stuff. I thought of documenting it. So I started this journey with writing kind of a travelogues, maybe like 300 or 500 words. And then eventually somehow managed to write few books and theories and started contributing to research and advisory platforms. And here I am, landed here in front of all of you with some books, some research papers, some travelogues, and perhaps going forward, some more research work or some more work which can be useful for the generations to come.
Right. This is your humble submission, sir. Very humbly, you have told us everything about your hard work, sincerity, and dedication towards this field. Now, we want to understand from you, sir. We always talk about tourism. Everybody, one or the other time, pursued tourism in one or the other manner. Now, according to you, how you see tourism, or is it only for commercial purpose, according to you, or there is a different angle? What is your opinion about it?
So whenever I speak on such platforms, I ensure that whatever knowledge I have gained, I put my talk from that perspective. And that perspective is basically three perspectives whenever I talk to people or share my thoughts. One is the business administration. Second is the legal. I have a law degree as well. And third is more philosophical and psychological, that how tourism impacts an individual. Now here, if I begin with the industry perspective, so if we go back, say like 100, 150 years back, and all of us are well aware that we still have that Sarai Act, wherein if I refer to a Sarai as a place where people used to travel, they used to stop, they used to feed and give water to the animals and stay overnight, and then next morning they used to start their own journey again. So from a legal perspective, I put it here. Now, tourism from the day one, it's an industry indeed, and it has contributed a lot, not only in India or in a state or in a town, but across the globe. People have been traveling. They are traveling for maybe for leisure, maybe to explore new countries or areas, or maybe for business purposes. Now, if I put it from the commercial perspective, for instance, now business perspective. So here comes the part of, say, for example, MICE. So it's a meeting, incentive, conference, and exhibitions. If we see, I mean, going back, as I said, from 100 years till today, there have been places which have been very famous for trading purposes. And there have been, commercial structures have been developed and created in last few years to facilitate these meetings and incentives and people coming in, joining in, and interacting with each other. So the entire tourism has taken a shape in the form of an industry which is right now is in billions. I'm not referring to any statistics here because I prefer to cover it from a story perspective rather than from a theoretical perspective. So MICE is one where, for example, people come, talk, discuss, and then they not only share business thoughts and ideas, but they take back a lot of things. Within MICE, for example, if I would say, so exponentially grown in the form of tourism. So there is a hashtag, there is a tag attached to it that wedding is an industry now, which means that people going abroad and doing marriages or weddings and people coming in India to do these ceremonies. Earlier, it used to be a family affair. Now it's a business. There are experts, and they can really transform your the entire thing. As in, if you are celebrating something, and the way they'll conduct it step by step in a very professional manner is something. And there I can see a lot of tour operators coming forward, joining hands and facilitating this, and it is becoming a different vertical of tourism. This is one example. That there was a revenge tourism, the new term came in, that okay, we have not been able to travel, now I will travel at any cost, I'm ready to spend any money. Then there is luxury, that it's a different vertical, that okay, I have all the money in the world, but I want services at par, next level services. So that's again not a new form, but yes, people now, they were not able to travel abroad, so they explored avenues within India where they can stay and receive all those services and hospitality at a global level. And fortunately, we have those things here in India. It's just that perhaps I've heard from a lot of people that they never explored it from that perspective, that they used to travel abroad for such hospitality. But now, when they had managed to spend time in India and they've explored the avenues within India, it is remarkable, phenomenal, I would say, that people are doing so well. The industry is picking up so well. So tourism is gaining strength.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for this.
That strength is eventually it's converting into numbers now. And luckily,
I would like to ask from you that you have told earlier that you have whatever you have traveled, wherever you have gone, whatever people you have met with, you have put that everything in the travel log and your write-ups. So, sir, kindly tell us that how many states or places you have been visited in India, and what you have achieved from it.
So this is something very special and which I really want to communicate, especially to travelers. Business perspective is different. Obviously, everyone will make business out of it. But for travelers, people who travel by heart or who really love traveling, so I was into reading, and my reading was always around history, archaeology, spiritual side of human beings. So at a very young age, perhaps my parents took me to some places across India wherein I got inspired, and I decided to explore India and learn and pick up things from different states and people. And then I started making my own itineraries and started traveling. So fortunately, I have had the honor and pleasure of visiting more or less, I think, every state and every union territory of India. And my traveling was attached to the spiritual side of travel. So, for example, we have Bara Jyotirling, 12 Jyotirlings we call it. So I have been all Jyotirlings. Okay. Amarnath Yatra, including Kailash Mansarovar I went to.
Yes, wonderful.
And so say Sikhs, if we talk about Sikh shrines, so there are 5, they call it Takhat, which are the most spiritually active places, 3 in Punjab, 1 in Patna and 1 in Nanded, Maharashtra. So I've been to all 5 places. Then there are, mazars across India, be it the Ajmer or Mumbai or one in Punjab also, Himachal Punjab border is there, Malerkotla, for example, in Punjab. And there are a lot of other places, Patna Sahib and all these places. So I have been to that. And say, for example, in India, a lot of people, I'm sure they're aware, but still, Indian history is very vast in the sense that we have Portuguese coming in, we have Danish people coming in, we have people from England, we have other places. So they have developed their own towns and church and other places across India. So Daman and Diu is different. Pondicherry is it's a French colony. It used to be a French colony, so they have their architecture is French. Then Vizag is one place, and there are a lot of other places. So I visited that places. Then Jainism, for example, Shikharji and other places which are in Jharkhand and Bihar. Buddhism, more or less every place of Buddhism. Then some shrines which includes, we call it Mata, 52 Shakti Peeth are there. So I've been to almost maybe 25, 30. So I attached, it was not a religious journey. It was more of a spiritual journey to learn and understand what different religions preach and, what wisdom actually is. So fortunate, and I actually translated all my thoughts and learnings into a book, which was my first book, which is The Journey of a Lost Soul, which I wrote like 3.5 years back and got it published. So that's how it all started. And apart from all this work and business and everything, this is what I've achieved. I personally feel somehow it has transformed my life in a very positive way.
Okay, so this is really wonderful. I have rarely heard of and even met someone who has extensive practical first-hand experience of so-called tourism sites. And as you have told that such kind of an experiences have transformed you as a person and have helped you grow in your life, that is remarkable, sir. You are an inspiration for all the tourism experts, I would say, and the students, those who are aspiring to be in this particular industry. So great, sir. Now, coming, like you have told about your first book, and this, I think the book that we have just talked about is your 4th book. Am I right, sir? Yeah. So we just want to understand what is this 4th book all about and what other 3 books you have written. So if you can just guide us and also tell us in depth what is the reason to write it, and what is your inspiration behind that?
So I prefer not to promote my books using such platforms. But now, ma'am, that you have asked, so first, as I mentioned, that it was a travelogue which revolves around the spiritual side of India. Second is it's a kind of a love story. The name is Asakti, Too Fond of You. So Asakti is about two people who are close friends, and they remain friends. So their thoughts, their upbringing, their families, their parents, how people who are living in their same neighborhood for so many years, and when they move to different places, how they stay connected. So they have a bond, which bond is not like a typical love story, but that bond is something which exists in human beings. These are feelings and emotions. So my second book revolves around that. And the third one is I am lucky to write about people who have really inspired me. My bosses, for example, some people who are doing good in public administration, some in teaching. So this book has 9 chapters, and I have written those chapters on people I have come across in my life and people who have actually inspired me. So the book name is The Tales of Triumphs, Pathways to Prosperity. So I personally feel that your parents, yes, family, yes, but once you're outside your house, the people who inspire you are your professors and teachers. So I have covered that. Your seniors and bosses or MDs, companies you have been working for, that is 2. Second, people who are in the public domain who have been contributing a lot for the development of the country. They are in the public administration, be it the politicians or IAS officers, IPS officers and other. And last but not the least, that people who are spiritually active, irrespective of their religion they follow. People who are spiritually active and who have written books and shared their thoughts about humanity. So I've covered that in my third book. And fourth, obviously, The Land of Eternal Enchantment. This is, again, moving back to a bit to the commercial side of tourism. So here, what I have done is that in this book, I have covered that how rich Indian tradition and culture is. So we have best of the best food. We have best of the best colors, dresses. I mean, what we wear, and we export this to different places. We have places which are maybe only 1 or 2 places across the globe, in the sense that we have art, we have artisans who are making something which is not available across the globe, which is only available in India. Fortunately, unfortunately, some people respect that, some don't. But yes, those artisans and that particular art should be promoted. So I've covered that. And how rich our culture and food is something which should be communicated to across the globe. So for example, we talk about ghee and we talk about other oil. So how a saturated fat can convert your body into an auto mechanism which can fight with diseases is something which has been there in our culture from 5,000 years. But again, we are inspired by different parts of the globe and people. So we follow different cultures and their learnings. But I think India is something which is very, very rich in every way. So that I've tried to cover here.
Right.
That what our history is, what our learning from that history should be, and how it is shaping our future and how it is shaping an individual, a human being. So that is what I've covered to an extent, whatever best I can. The Land of Eternal Enchantment.
Right. So if I ask, does COVID-19 has helped you in making or pen downing all these write-ups because you got the time for that? Is this so, or this is your own liking towards writing that you got the time for the books? Which one you prefer the most? It's the time factor due to the COVID-19 or your own personal attribution towards your writing?
So I was abroad for a few years. End of 2018, early 2019, I moved back to India. And to an extent, yes, I cannot deny this fact that COVID helped me. But honestly, if I would share that, actually, I worked extra hours during COVID times, as in work-wise, typical work-wise. And that work-wise gave so much of strength to me that I have so much material ready And it's more or less ready in the sense that why can't I shape it into a book or something which can help, or businesses or individuals and everything. So yes, after moving back to India, first thing what I did was that I finished my postdoctorate. And after writing my postdoctorate and whatever time I used to spend to write my thesis for postdoctorate and research papers, I utilized that time, that parallelly working for associations or for companies, I utilized that time in converting my thoughts into a book. Yes, in a way, COVID helped me. I took each and every learning from a pandemic in a very positive way,
Right.
and communicate it to people who are in my circle and whatever best I can.
Right.
So be it the lectures at various universities, or be it writing books or research papers, whatever intellectual contribution an individual can give, I utilized it 100% during COVID times and gave it back to the society. That is what I can say.
Right, sir. Right, sir. Thank you so much for sharing this. And very rightly, you have told that this pandemic has helped you in a very positive manner. You took it in a very positive manner, and this line that you have just said. Now, this can be an inspiration for a lot many people who thought that who should thought like in every negative situation there can be a positive aspect. So thank you so much for sharing this. Now, sir, we also want to ask you that since with your ample amount of experience and tourism background and everything, so before asking the question, I would like to add and ask one another thing before I come to my next question. As a not as a professional, but as a person, as a tourist yourself, which is your favorite destination in India? Just as a tourist, as an individual person, is there any personal favorite of yours, or you like every region?
So my personal favorite, I can say, I love spending time with nature.
Okay.
And if at time I can spend with my family, friends, or my people whom I'm close to, then that's the best time. So as long as I have the good company, even if I'm sitting in my colony, in my own park, in nature, I am okay. That's the best time and that's the best place. If I can spend the same time, for example, if I give you state-specific examples, then Gulmarg is one. For example, if you go to Kashmir, then yes, we can always go to Mashobra and other places which are near to Shimla.
Right.
That's again a beautiful place. Right. Then Uttarakhand has come up with some very good destinations. So be it Munchiari or be it places which are a little away from the famous tourist destinations. So like in Uttar Pradesh, if I would say, then Pilibhit Tiger Reserve is a beautiful area where an individual can go. Then Assam has come up with some very good destinations, and they have all the airports connectivity also. Sikkim is very beautiful. Tamil Nadu is very beautiful. Kerala, we can always go to multiple places. I mean, it's so picturesque that anything and everything, if you're doing anything in Kerala, is something like really nice. Maharashtra state has come up very well in terms of tourism. They are doing so much, and state is beautiful. Madhya Pradesh, places like Orcha and other places where they have very old and famous temples. So the way they have renovated and supported that with development of the right infrastructure, I think it's really nice. Gujarat, obviously, yes. We can go to Gir, we can go to Rajkot, or we can go to other religious places. And so Rajasthan has always been there on every individual's list. So be it Jodhpur or Jaisalmer or Jaipur, it's beautiful. And then now with Ayodhya coming up, with Mathura, with Delhi after this G20, if you see that they've renovated it so well. Delhi itself, you can spend 3 to 5 days in Delhi. It is such a beautiful city. They've made it. They've taken it to the next level now. Special thanks to the government.
Yeah. So, are there more places in your bucket list still, or you have completed the entire list of tourism in India?
Honestly, I'm done with it. If it is work related, I would love to travel anywhere and everywhere. But now, if I want to spend time, as I already mentioned, that I would love to go to anywhere along with my people. my family, friends, my colleagues. Yes, I would love to. But yes, more or less, I have been to everywhere. Yes.
Right. So with this, we will be fortunate enough to ask you a very important question, because our lovely audience, those who are listening, many young people are also listening. So, what is your advice to the people looking at making their career in tourism?
If we go back and study the history of tourism, last 50 years, for example, after every 5 or 7 years, tourism is the only industry which is the hardest hit. So, for example, COVID, tourism, financial slowdown across the globe, tourism, any war happening, tourism, anything and everything across the globe when it happens, what happens is that the sector which gets maximum hurt is tourism. Now, what to do then? For people who are looking at making their career in tourism or hospitality, what to do? So first thing first, what I personally feel is that each and every entity which is serving tourists should be registered.
Right.
Registered in the sense that they form a company and their transactions and whatever they are doing should be very formal. Like, for example, I've seen a lot of people, asking government for some support post-COVID, or even last 20 years back, if I go 2007, when there was a financial turmoil was there. So 90s, this war was happening, Iraq and Kuwait and fighting, oil shortages were there. If we go back, then war maybe in India, maybe 70s we had an oil shock again, 60s we had our own tensions. So what I'm trying to convey here is that, one should have a registered entity, a registered company, which is aware of what all benefits are there, and they are taking and utilizing those benefits. It should not be that. So there are a lot of incentives offered by government. There are a lot of CSR work happening, and unfortunately, people I have seen is that yes, some people do study thoroughly whatever businesses, but some people don't take it to that level. For them, making money is more important. So I personally feel that, setting up a company and let the company run, you working for a company or company working for you, there should be a mix, a marketing mix, very clear. But if a company is working for you, so even if you're sleeping, you're getting something. The company is making money out of it. And if you are in the company, then you are driving force there. So I feel that legal entity registrations is one. Second, marketing should be, we should have clarity on who's our target customers. A lot of people I have seen, good people, for example. So if they are doing ticketing, they're only ticketing. So they are becoming investors in other companies, but their focus is ticketing. If it is a tour operator, their focus is operating tour, but yes, they are setting up more businesses or saving money or expanding their business, investing and reinvesting. But there are people who are waiting for business to come, that anything in tourism, I'll do it. Well, I have seen people who have not been very successful who are doing everything. So you need to be very focused in tourism, that if you are target customer or target audience is corporates, for example, or if it is, say, conferences, or if it is, say, spiritual travel, leisure travel, anything. So it should be very, very clearly communicated to the team, your own team, and to the world, to the customers, that, okay, I specialize in this. You're most welcome. This is what I feel is the need of the hour.
Right. So, okay. So one aspect is to train the youth in a very formal manner through a proper education to be a part of this particular industry. And one is when we talk about responsible and sustainable tourism, and wherein we talk about the local community involvement towards tourism. That is not actually now at present in a very formalized training segmentation into. So how you look at this, and what are your views in terms of empowerment of local community and their involvement, and what should be done?
First of all, all of us, be it the youth or be it the local communities or people at the ground level, tier 3, tier 4 cities or villages, or sitting at the top. First of all, in last 10 years, see the kind of change we have seen. We are now dependent on digital payments. From top to bottom, digital payments are happening. Now, special advice, for example, if I would say to the youth is that utilize this as much as you can. And that requires a lot of, restructuring of the businesses in terms of having the right IT infrastructure in place. If the right IT infrastructure is not there in a company these days, then it is difficult to survive.
Right.
Second is that 2021-22, there were no jobs in the hospitality and travel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, establishments, organizations are looking for trained people.
Mm-hmm.
People are looking where are the right candidates. Unfortunately, some have come back, some have, reverse migration is happening, that they're coming back to their own sector. But some have decided to stay away from this sector in the sense that, that's sustainable. These businesses are not sustainable. That's what they think. But, my take here is that please study tourism and hospitality from a very, very typical business perspective. That when you're making money, you're the only people who are making money. When there are challenges, it is for the entire industry, not for an individual. Okay. So we have to accept the fact that there are challenges which are beyond humanity's control, or it is happening because of something very peculiar, or something which is not a kind of an unprecedented event. So if that is there, so be very clear about your skills and be very sure that things happen, good and bad things happen. Be very ready, and let's face it, these challenges are there, but still the tourism is growing.
Right.
We thousands of new companies coming in. IATA registration is full. A lot of travel agents registering, and every second day I see that this company 5 years back was not even there, and within last 2 years they are doing, say, for example, if I say tour operators. So I know people within last 2 years they have scaled their business like anything. They thoroughly studied the industry, used the right tools, had the right infrastructure in place with right people, and now they have no time. So they are making money like anything. They are expanding their businesses. So that is something part and parcel of the business, I can say. But be very sure. Understand this last 20 years first, that there were no digital payments. Now digital payments are there. Earlier, you used to visit bank for anything and everything. Now banks are there in your phone, or they're just a call away. So understand the financial liberty that you've got and utilize it for growth and prosperity.
Right. So since you have done your post-doctorate degree as well, DLIT, especially for the those who are doing, students and the educators also in the research field, we want to know from you that what do you think about the research quality within the country and how we should go by, and what guidance or what quick tip you want to give them to pursue their research in a proper frame. What is lacking and what should be done?
So I'm not attending as an educationist here, but yes, now that, ma'am, you have asked a question, research, everyone knows. Somebody who is into research and somebody who is even a layman, everyone understands that there are two aspects of research. One is the primary research, one is the secondary research. Right. Depending on the business you are in, or what outcome you want from your business, or as an individual, what do you want to learn? If you are a professor, teacher, or a student, or a business, if you have the clarity that your focus, your requirement is primary research, then answer is very clear. If your requirement is secondary research, answer is very clear. For example, writing a research paper means that you give an overview, you prepare an abstract, you select the right tools which you are going to apply for assessment, and then with a questionnaire or with some already research done, you pick up some stats and evaluate that from your perspective. That's how it works.
Right.
But for example, at the ground level, in tier 2, tier 3 city, last year, for example, I had 500 students or 500 people visiting my city. But
Okay.
now I have only 100 people visiting.
Ji.
Now here, primary research is required. What was there last year? Maybe airfare was low. It could be a possibility. Or maybe, connectivity was good at that time. But now, perhaps that challenges are there.
Mhm.
So that thing is something which requires a lot of clarity.
Ji, ji.
That primary research is required in a very big way to understand that if your business has exponentially grown or has gone down, then what are the reasons? And that's exactly what we do when we do a sample survey or a questionnaire.
Right.
We give questions according to what happened. So for researchers, I can say tourism requires a lot of primary research. I personally feel.
Ji.
Secondary research in tourism stats can be collected from ministry, from people entering in India, leaving India, or number of tickets done by airlines or by railways, or now we have all online platforms, so buses coming in, people traveling in. But the real strength, if you really want to learn and how to make money in tourism, is that you need to do a primary research. You need to go and speak to people in those small towns and people living around those beautiful cities which have come up, especially after post-COVID, as new upcoming destinations. That why tourists was there last year, it is not there this year. Or why there was no tourists last year, this year we have thousands of tourists coming. For example, road infrastructure.
Right.
The way it has improved, a lot of people I have seen traveling to places nearby Delhi or nearby Bangalore or Pune, they prefer to drive rather than taking a flight or a train.
Right.
Because
right. Absolutely right.
The capacity, it is your purchasing power. That if you are willing to travel in an airplane or a road trip or a train, it will take exact time wise. It will be same for everyone. But service wise, quality wise, and in terms of if you're traveling as a business traveler or a student or an exhibition or an incentive or something, then you have multiple options in more or less same cost.
Right, sir. Thank you so much for this answer. So another question, sir. Do you think chambers, association, there are not many chambers and associations, not for the profit bodies are also there. They are contributing towards the growth of tourism and hospitality industry. If yes, then how?
Oh yes. See, honestly, be it tourism or any other industry, these not-for-profit associations were formed by all the stalwarts in the industry or who's who of the industry. Some associations are new, some associations are old, some are coming up, some are doing exceptionally good work, some are very agenda specific. So these associations, what are these associations? Who are these people? They are people like me and you and all of us. I am into tourism business, say travel business from last 20 years. There is an association which takes up my issues, which gives me a platform to speak and share my thoughts with the community, with the government, with the experts. So then why not? Yes, they are contributing in a big way. Some are covering more or less every subject. Some are agenda specific in the sense that we have associations catering to only and only say hospitality, or only and only say manufacturing, or only subject specific. If I would say that, then there are say car manufacturers, they have their own. Then you have medicine guys, they have their own. So yes, they're contributing in a big way, and all these big minds and people who have invested years and years of their hard work and so-called money in the industry, they come, sit, discuss, and find out solutions for the challenges. So yes, associations has always been and will always be a backbone of the so-called any industry we are in.
Right. So, one last question for this particular webinar for all our audience. If I ask you what 5 skills you will suggest us, or what 5 skills you will give us to make a mark in terms of your career, in terms of as an entrepreneur or a startup or anything, but related to tourism and hospitality, what 5 skills one should have?
So, 5 skills, I would say, Ma'am, as I already mentioned, first thing first is have very sound knowledge of IT products which are around.
Right.
IT products can be a very basic thing like Microsoft Excel, Google Sheets, or whatever. But
Right.
one should have that grip on that. Solid grip on these. When you sit on a computer, you know how to quickly prepare a presentation. Or now these days we have Chat GPT also, where you write, give them a command, and they prepare something for you. But even for that, you need to know, you need to have clear understanding that what exactly you want. Even if I'm writing and asking a software like Chat GPT that do this for me, that if I don't know what I want, then how would that software give me a solution? So that requires some basic knowledge. IT is one.
Right.
Second is, now that we have domestic tourism picking up, earlier there was a trend of people learning foreign languages.
Right.
Now I come across individuals who are learning regional languages. So I have a friend who speaks very good Bengali, who speaks very good Marwadi, and now he is learning Malayalam.
Okay.
So post-COVID, people have realized and they've understood the value of Indian traveler.
Right.
And if you can give that warmth and feeling to that traveler in their own language, for example, if I am from southern India and I can speak good Hindi from a north guy, or I can speak Marathi, or I can speak any regional Bengali or any other language, that gives a different kind of warmth, and you feel very comfortable in that company. That okay, I have somebody who is in the tourism domain and who knows the subject. He's not interested in learning a foreign language, rather his focus is domestic tourism. Again, on the contrary, in the sense that from the other side, we must learn few foreign languages also. We know that there are very few foreign languages which are required to be in this domain. Which in if you're dealing with mice, for example, then Japanese or Chinese and European languages, German or Spanish can be picked up, Portuguese can be picked up, and people who are dealing with the Middle East, they can perhaps pick up basics of Arabic, or people dealing with other countries, regional level countries, so they can pick up their language. So language, I'm not talking about your communication skills, I'm talking about language. Some basic phrases of language can actually turn your business, it can multifold your business. So that is the second thing. So IT and language is, again, I feel it's very important, especially the regional within India languages. Third is that be it India or be abroad, people are looking for consolidating tourism. Consolidating tourism in the sense that if I'm traveling to, for example, Andhra Pradesh, and as a business guy, a tourism guy, if I can prepare an itinerary where I say that if you're going to Andhra, I can prepare an itinerary for you where you can cover 3 states. So when we go to Europe, we say that, okay, if I'm going to Switzerland, let's go to Germany also, let's go to Spain or Italy or anywhere else.
Right.
We need to replicate the same thing here in India. That if you're traveling to Maharashtra, spend 2 days, for example, you can enter from Maharashtra, you can enter Madhya Pradesh and spend maybe 2 days in Indore or somewhere. Or if you are in Daman and Diu, then you can perhaps spend 2 days in Gujarat or Maharashtra. Or if you are in Delhi, then take this golden triangle and go to Agra and places like this. So we have such kind of restructuring and re-strengthening things are very limited. Foreigners come to Delhi, they are very clear that they'll go to Taj Mahal, then they'll go to Jaipur and come back to Delhi. So we need such kind of golden triangles across India.
Okay.
Not only in this area. That is the third thing.
Right.
Fourth, acumen in terms of, as I've already mentioned, also finance. Financial knowledge is very, very important. Very important. If you are, it doesn't matter that you are you're just a graduate or 12th pass guy or an engineer or PhD or whatever. You need to have command on some basics of your P&L. You must know what is profit and loss, what is the credit and debit system, and how loans are taken, how the percentages are calculated, how you can project in terms of that this year I had 10% profit, how can I make it 20%? So as I already mentioned, like IT skill is you can utilize a Google sheet or Excel sheet or something. So that financial even is very, very important, which is literally lacking, I personally feel. And last but not the least, I'm clubbing two things here, is the policy and the legal aspect. So with businesses growing, there are legal challenges are also growing. That you commit something and you are unable to deliver, then customer these days or traveler these days are very, very knowledgeable. And you have all the tools, you can YouTube and search that, okay, this guy cheated or this company cheated with me. Like, you'll find 100 videos to sue that company. For example, you have a particular scheme available, but you are not utilizing that scheme. So if I'm going to the next state and they offer a good scheme there for tour operators or to businessmen, but because I'm not aware, I have not thoroughly studied their tourism policy, I really don't know. This command on the policy and legal aspect, the statutory and all these compliances is very important. And fortunately, government is now translating all these policies and everything in regional languages also. In Hindi, for example, in English, and regional languages have their own experts, and on their policy advocacy thing is documented in their own language and English also. So it should not be a limitation for a businessman. He or she must thoroughly study at least basics of the litigation or legal side of the business and also the policy side. So these are the 5 things which I'm saying it from a very commercial perspective. As a traveler, if I can say, so thoroughly study the protocols where you are traveling, thoroughly study what all challenges is there, in the sense that whatever directions your travel operator or tour operator, travel agent is giving you, be it in traveling in India or abroad, whatever guidelines they are sharing with you, please thoroughly study that. It's very important. Can't skip after COVID. So these are 5 things which I personally feel that can help scale up the business and elevate tourism to a next level.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And it is really a pleasure having you with us on our platform. We are delighted to hear you. Whatever you have just told us during the entire webinar, it is such a precious thing that if we follow that, any of the youngster or the present person who is already pursuing in tourism industry, if they follow that, they will definitely shape a good career in their life. So really thanks for being here. And we are hopeful that in future also we will be having you on our platform and share and gaining more knowledge onto this subject with you, sir. So with this, my dear audience, I would like to convey to you that be a tourist in your life, be happy, be delighted, but at the same time, follow everything properly, learn everything properly, grow with each moment in your life and be focused in your life. That's what the true essence of living is there. So with this, we are coming to the end of this particular webinar with a promise that we are coming tomorrow with a new topic, with a new guest, and with a new theme. Till then, take care, good night, and God bless everyone. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. We can connect on anywhere, any platform, Dr. Himanshu Talwar, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'm active with this name, Dr. Himanshu Talwar.
Yeah,
thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir.